Thank you. Yeah, I've had the same handwriting
Is that
since
the
fifth grade.
questions? Is that literally all you were? Josh? I'm
This is
proud
how
of you.
this is how we do extemp speeches. You just
Yeah,
keep
you
all
ever
your
see
points.
mine?
Yeah. Can we just keep it to where like first, second, third, first, second, third, first, second, third?
Yeah, and could we just like maybe start one and end and then go down the line? Is that okay?
That's fine. Sure.
Okay, so
And then switch it up with each question.
yep.
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay, you want to start, Bryce? Okay, so you'll get question 1 first, you'll get question 2 first, you'll get question 3 first, question 4, question 5, question 6.
Cool.
Sound good for everyone? Okay, thanks guys.
Whatever works.
No, it's me. I'm the commissioner.
How's it going?
So I couldn't figure out how to work the but we decided that Bryce will go first on the first question, Parker will go first on the second question, and then third and fourth and fifth. Good to you.
As long as it's a great for my decision. Whatever works, man.
We're all gonna answer the questions. We're just trying to make everything as comfortable as possible.
Also, how strict is the 2 minutes, 30 seconds?
Pretty strict.
Pretty strict.
Do I have a part time
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tie.
I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, there's.
I mean, we're on.
That will help.
I'm gonna get my water.
Yeah. Oh no, I told Greg.
Cool. Yeah.
Wave to the camera.
Everyone, there is pizza out in the back. If anyone has not had some yet, please do help yourselves.
hope so.
Yeah, if she doesn't, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you. You too, Marta.
All right, everyone, we'll begin in about a minute, so go ahead and get comfortable. Thank you. You can keep talking for a little bit. We still have like another 45 seconds or so.
Check.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Hello?
Yeah.
Wait, is mine working? Okay, I just have to talk louder. That's fine. That's easy. I can talk louder. So 30 seconds? Okay.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Maggie Billman, and I serve as a member of the Elections Committee. I'll be moderating our debate this evening. I was going to be assisted by someone from the radio station, but he has a really bad migraine today and wasn't able to join us. So you get me instead. You're all welcome. I'm going to read off the rules really quickly, and then we'll get into the questions. Just so you all know, the candidates were provided with a list of the questions before the debate so that they had time to prepare their answers, as well as the rules. So, yeah. Rule number 1, each candidate will have the opportunity to answer an equal amount of questions. We're going to do 6. You will have, each candidate will have 2 minutes and 30 seconds per question. A sign that designates that 30 seconds is remaining will be held up when there are 30 seconds remaining by our elections commissioner Reed over there. And the order has been just decided amongst the candidates. So Bryce will answer the first question first, Parker the second question first, Marta the third question first, so on and so forth. Please be respectful of all other candidates, refrain from speaking negatively of other candidates, and focus on sharing from your own experiences and perspectives. Please refrain from using foul language. Please, and this goes to everybody in the chamber as well, abide by Kansas State University's mask mandate rules by properly wearing your face covering at all times, with the exception of finishing up your pizza and drinking water. And please maintain a respectful and inquisitive attitude at all times. Any spectators or candidates who behave in a rude or disruptive manner will be asked to leave. I don't think that's going to be a problem, so I hope it isn't. With that being said, Reed, are you ready to keep the time? Okay, Bryce, you will have the first question. Oops, I need to introduce everyone. On the far side there, we have Bryce Atchison. Bryce is from Tonganoxie, Kansas, and he's majoring in agricultural economics and global food systems leadership. In the middle, we have Parker Vogelmore. Parker is from Scott City, Kansas, also majoring in agricultural economics and pre-law. And then we have Marta Richenberg from Kansas City, Missouri, who studies history and political science. With that, Bryce, are you ready for the first question? Sweet. Please provide a brief introduction of yourself and your K-State story.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. My name is Bryce Atchison, and I am a junior in agricultural economics as well as global food systems leadership. I'm a first-generation K-Stater, and I knew that I wanted to go to K-State from my first 4-H and FFA meetings. 4-H and FFA are pretty dear to my heart, and so is being a rural American. And I know the importance of agriculture, and I felt like K-State was just going to be the right place for me, considering that almost every 4-H and FFA event that we had was up here in Manhattan, Kansas. And I love agriculture, and I love K-State.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I think this is such a special opportunity, really of monumental importance for our university. So I do want to express my gratitude and appreciation for each and every one of you for your engagement and interest throughout this process. So my name is Parker Vogelmore, as Maggie said, and I'm currently a junior studying agricultural economics pre-law. Now, I grew up as the 5th generation on my family farm back in Scott City, Kansas, where I had the values of hard work, integrity, resiliency, and many other things instilled deep in me from such a young age. Many of the same values that Wildcats for generations have expressed. Generations from the first class at Kansas State, where it was composed of 50% men and 50% women in the 1860s. How cool is that? To the trailblazing Wildcats who paved the way for others as they broke the color barrier in the Big 7 and Big 8 athletic conferences, to K-Staters such as John Weefall, Bill Snyder, and others who had such incredible, inspiring visions for K-State and really paved the way for success in our future. So it's really the same core values that are ingrained deeply into the foundation of our university's land-grant institution. Now, as for my K-State story, my roots can be traced back through 3 generations of K-Staters. Fortunately, I grew up bleeding purple and have always loved K-State. My favorite memories were coming up to football games at the Bill or late nights in the winter at Bramblage. But that didn't necessarily mean my transition to college was easy or was my decision to come here. In fact, stepping outside my comfort zone and leaving my hometown where I graduated with pretty much the same 55 people I went to preschool with was something of an intimidating endeavor, I would say. You know, in many ways, I still look back and I see myself as this wide-eyed farm kid from a small town full of big dreams and aspirations. But, now I just have a renewed purpose and passion for the university. And fortunately, my courage was well rewarded. I've grown tremendously, and in many ways I could have never imagined. And the last 3 years at K-State have been the best and most prosperous of my life. From late nights in the Ville with all my fraternity brothers to endless hours here in this very room advocating for students in the Student Senate, I have made a ton of great memories that have made my time here incredible. So thank you all, K-State, and I'm excited to share more.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Marta Richenberg. I'm a junior studying history and political science from Kansas City, Missouri. I come from a very long line of K-Staters. A lot of my family members were in SGA, and pretty much my entire dad's side of the family went to K-State. So when I was trying to pick out what colleges I wanted to go to, picking K-State was fairly easy. But what really set it apart from literally every college that I went and visited was that when I came here, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I wasn't scared to go to college. I wasn't scared for the new adventure that was ahead of me. I was so excited because as I was walking around campus with my dad and him telling me all the fun and cool stories that he also did. Some of them probably aren't appropriate stories, but he would walk around and we would go to Weber Hall or the vet school and he would tell me all the fun stuff he did. And it made me really excited that I'm gonna build my roots the same place he built his. And so it was really important for me too, when I came to K-State, that I try to get in front of the change as much as possible. I think my entire life, I knew I wanted to work pretty much in the government. I wanted to do public service, and helping other people has been a passion of mine since as long as I can remember. I remember when I visited the Missouri Capitol and I was like super inspired by all the legislators and senators in like 5th grade. And I decided that I was gonna get a legal pad and start writing letters to them because I wanted change. Weird story, I know. But yeah, I just have, coming to K-State, one of the quotes that me and Peyton love the most is from former President Barack Obama, where he states, "We are the change that we seek." And that quote is echoed through our campaign slogan, "Be the change." Because I think me and Peyton, one of the big reasons why we wanted to run was so we can be a part of the change. We didn't want to wait and wish and hope that somebody else would come and make the changes we wanted to see. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I'm really excited to have some really great conversations, but thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Parker, you will have the opportunity to answer the next question first, and then we'll go to Marta and then to Bryce. As the university transitions into a new era of leadership, how will you work to collaborate with administrators in the service of students?
Sure, thanks, Maggie. I really think Marta led into it really well, and I think we're just so fortunate how we have this system of shared governance at K-State, where students do have the ability to have a voice and make a difference on campus. Whether it's allocating the $16 million student service fee, to being involved in the processes to select our next university president, even to this very room, initiatives to create this room, the student union and the rec, and so many other cool things that Wildcats have advocated for, we have the opportunity to make a difference, and that's really important. And ultimately that's why I'm running. And a lot of the reason is to empower students. Your voice is what we can do to support students and continue to serve you. So as far as as we transition to a new era of leadership and how we work to or hope to collaborate with the new administrators, I'm very, very optimistic about President Linton and our future. I did have the great opportunity to meet with him and chat briefly during the announcement. And I was really excited to hear how enthusiastic, forward-thinking, and optimistic his vision is for Kansas State. And especially since he made a very intentional point of talking about how important it is to talk to students and hear student voices. That's something he's emphasized over and over, and I think it's really an awesome opportunity for our student leaders to represent you all, to work with the administration. Some examples of what this looks like and what our campaign seeks to do is support student organizations and ensure that we continue to have a seat at the tables when decisions are being made. And that's what we hope to do is work tirelessly as advocates for student voices. So some things that looks like is whether currently I'm serving on the Lot 9 task force, so that's looking at what the student tailgating experience is going to be in the future as they expand into the grass lot and things change, to working on the Student Org Policy Review Committee, where we look at all of our student organizations and the current structure of independent student orgs and dependent student orgs, and use those student voices as I got to advocate and represent students of whether it's how we can improve the relationship with Greek life in the university, to how we can support smaller multicultural fraternities and other smaller groups in their recruitment efforts, and everything else we can do to support those students. So our goal is ultimately to just ensure we have a seat at the table.
Sweet, yeah. So I think with having a new, presidential administration, it can be, really exciting, but also really, really scary. I mean, we had, our student government had a great relationship with President Myers. And so seeing him go was kind of a scary thing for a lot of us, not knowing what that relationship was going to look like with President Linton. But I think it's very exciting because it's an ability to have a fresh start and a fresh slate, an ability to grow connections for years to come. I mean, the connections that whoever is next student body president is going to make with President Linton is going to carry with future student body presidents and future student bodies to come. And so I think it's really, really exciting that we get the opportunity to build this new connection, to build this new slate, and build upon it. I keep saying build, but yes, build. Yeah, and I think the important thing too, I know Michael Dowd has done a great job of doing this, is connecting the administration, with the students. I know President Linton has, told us a bunch of times that he really wants to meet new students, get new students' perspective. And as like a student body president, especially a new one, you definitely want to be a part of that, and you want to help students be connected to their new president because, like as I mentioned earlier, it can be a scary thing. And by putting the president administration in front of the student faces is what really is going to help, everyone feel at ease and feel confident that President Linton is going to be what's best for K-State, and also being like having the ability to work really well with the administration. But yeah.
Yeah, folks, I think this new administration and this time of transition is one of the most important times for the future of our university. Specifically with our College of Agriculture, Dr. Linton came from being the Dean of Agriculture at North Carolina State to coming here and being the president of our university, which I just think is awesome. I think we're going to have a great connection there, both being agriculturalists. But I think one of the most important parts of being the student body president is keeping a close relationship with the administration and making sure that the students' thoughts, opinions, and voices are heard by the administration. And so I think that's probably going to be one of the most important options that me and my running mate are going to be able to use. And so I really think that it's key that we have a relationship with administration, that we work with them clearly, and that we work transparently so that students know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it, especially since we spend the $16 million student service fee. I think that it's important that we keep that tie with administration close.
Thank you all. Marty, you will have the opportunity to answer this next question first. How will your administration work with a variety of students and organizations in order to ensure that all voices are heard?
Yeah, when me and Peyton first, sat down to figure out what our initiatives were going to be, the first thing that we really wanted to emphasize that it was not going to be initiatives that only me and Peyton felt were needed to be changed. And so we reached out to different organizations, definitely multicultural students, to feel like, what do you see that's going wrong that we can add to our initiatives? And I'm really proud to say that most of our initiatives did not come from just me and Peyton. It came from a wide variety of students that gave us some of the issues that they see on campus. And that's really what the student body president is supposed to do. They're supposed to listen to the students. They're supposed to take the issues that they see on campus and turn them into initiatives that can be dealt with the administration. I think that is probably the most important role of the student body president. But also kind of what Parker said earlier is having a seat at the table. Me and Peyton obviously are both women, and so we have to fight every day to be at the table. And even when we're at the table, a lot of times we have to speak louder than everybody else to be heard, and that's hard. But we want to be able to give everybody else who feels like that, who has to fight to be at that table, that has to fight for their voices to be heard. We want to make sure that they're at that table. Whether that be I invite certain students to come with me to meetings so they can speak on behalf of their student organization that I really couldn't speak upon. And so it's really important to us, when making those initiatives, that this was something that we did. We made sure the student voices who are not heard are heard, because they deserve to be at the table just as much as everybody else. That's it.
Yeah, folks, student organizations are the heart of this university. They truly keep this place running, and they keep this place, happy and healthy. And so I believe that it's really going to be important that this next administration works really closely with student organizations like the Food Security Scholars, the Food Recovery Network, and other, student organizations that really care for the students and that really want to see change on campus. And so I think that we personally are really going to try to work with those student organizations that work with that work with students' basic needs, that really care for students and look out for students, as well as outreaching to several other student organizations that usually wouldn't have a seat at the table in student government. I think that it's important that all students' voices are heard, especially the student organizations on campus that get together every night to do wonderful work for our university and that really strive to make change at the student level. And so I think that it's really going to be important for this administration to work closely with student organizations.
Sure. I really love this question. So how do we work with students across campus and ensure that all voices are heard? For me, it really goes back to my favorite part of campaigning for student body president, as well as really just one of my favorite parts of college in general. And that's been sort of discovering that there's this intrinsic value that comes from education and going to college that takes place outside of the classroom. When we're able to come together, learn from each other, there's this deeper, meaningful knowledge that comes from networking and connecting with students across campus. There's beauty in being immersed into this diffusion of cultures, perspectives, ideas, religions, backgrounds, whatever it is that make us so different, and learning and growing together. I've absolutely loved that. Yeah, I think many of my new friends coming to K-State thought that me being from a small town or a farm kid meant that I drove a tractor to school. I think needless to say, there's a lot that we can learn and share and grow together. And therein's really where I found my purpose at K-State. And that's networking with students, coming together, growing, as I've said many times, learning together. And I've absolutely just loved advocating for all my fellow peers in this big, beautiful K-State family. Now, growing up around agriculture, I heard and I witnessed this myself, how farmers are passionate. They're passionate stewards of the land. Okay, they love what they do. It's their livelihood and their passion. Who knows what's best for farmers other than farmers? This is kind of the same vision and idea that Jeff and I took as we connected with students all across campus to develop our platforms. We talked with countless students and eventually came to the platform of purpose and prosperity. Now, to touch on the first part briefly, is purpose is about helping you connect with the K-State family and find your purpose and passion on campus, whether it be through student orgs, projects, service, your degree program, or anything else that you can get excited about. So it's connecting students, working together is really the foundation of our platform. It's what we've loved. It's how we've grown a team of over 120 people that are all working together, supporting each other towards a common goal. And I've absolutely loved that experience as I've grown and learned from so many great students. Now, whether it be student org town halls or just seeking out those intentional, hard conversations where we can grow, or even just having an open mind, we are absolutely here to represent all students and grow together.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on to question number 4, Bryce, you'll have the opportunity to start us off again. What is one unique issue that you hope to make progress toward?
Yeah, 44.3% of K-Staters go to bed every night without a meal. It's really hard to believe that here at such a happy and friendly place that some of our peers are going hungry every single night. That is our food insecurity rate at Kansas State University, of which we have one of the highest in the nation. And it's been like that for years, since our campus climate survey in 2019. Yet, not a lot's been really done to address that. There's been really great things like the Food Security Scholars and several other organizations on campus that have made great strides in advocating for food insecurity, but we're still missing something, and this is the key issue that my campaign is hoping to address is food insecurity. We really want to see free and reduced meals on campus. We want to see students having more opportunities to have meals served to them that are hot and ready. We want to see less stigma about people going to Cat's Cupboard and getting meals from Cat's Cupboard. At the end of the day, we really just care about seeing you fed, happy, and healthy, and it starts in food insecurity. Food insecurity not only affects how hungry you feel, it affects your physical, your mental health. It affects every day, or every piece of your everyday life. And so this is the most important part of our campaign, and this is what we are going to strive to tackle at Kansas State University.
Okay, cool. So I mentioned briefly about the purpose part of our campaign. So now to touch on the other part, which is prosperity. And prosperity in general is just ensuring that you have the tools and resources here to prosper at Kansas State and leave with the knowledge and connections to prosper in your future. Now that's pretty broad in general, I understand. And a big goal of our campaign was to build very actionable steps and tools to really make progress towards these initiatives. So one specific one I'll touch on briefly in our short time here is how we hope to improve the freshman orientation process. So a lot of what goes into that idea is that there's just this basic knowledge or set of ideals that every K-State student should know. Now, whether it be just sharing the history and mission of K-State as the first land-grant institution and how we've provided equal opportunities for all and how it's so important to have that knowledge and make progress towards that each and every day as students today, to just spreading school spirit through everyone knowing the alma mater, the fight song, the history of the Wabash Cannonball, some of the cool, unique things that make K-State so much fun. To a really important one is educating about some of the resources available to students. Resources such as Lafine, CAPS, Safe Ride, the tutoring resources we have at K-State, the care office, Cat's Cupboard, as Bryce talked about. There's so many awesome resources that K-State provides its students. And it's one thing to have those resources, but it's another to know about them and just to have accessibility to them. So that, as well as bystander intervention training and some of the KS Unite initiatives we kind of talked about. There's so many things that every K-State student should know. So that's why we hope to improve this orientation process where all students have these tools and resources, the knowledge of them to prosper at K-State. And so our goal, I guess, is to disseminate that knowledge early. This should not take place the first week where it's fighting against sorority recruitment and student org town halls where they're all competing for overwhelmed freshman students arriving on campus. No, we want to get this information out early so that the moment K-State students hit campus, they're confident, they're prepared, and they have everything they need to prosper at K-State. This can be through videos like what to expect on your first day at campus, or health and wellness resources, and many others, and more details we can share later with more time. But that's the goal with prosperity in the VE team.
Yeah, sweet. So our topic, this is very personal to me and Peyton. One of our big platforms is something that me and Peyton first sat down, this was our platform. This was going to be something that we ran on, and that is because I am a sexual assault survivor, and so is Peyton. And so are hundreds and thousands of other, people around the world, around the United States. I mean, we heard the calls for change with protests on campus. We heard the protests of change all around the nation in different college campuses. And I love K-State, but sexual assault does not stop outside of our borders. It is here, and quite frankly, it needs to stop. We want, by some of our initiatives, we want to stop the act before it happens. Obviously, it's unrealistic to say that it's going to be done and over with. There are bad people in this world. It's still going to happen, but it's about educating and supporting victims and setting up a good support system. I could not be standing up here if I did not have the support system that I had. It allowed me to grow. It allowed me to, find my power again. And so it was really important, I want to be up here, and I'm not just here for myself, and I'm not here fighting for, sexual assault prevention for myself. It's for every single person who ever felt like they were not heard, they were not seen, and their no was a yes in somebody's eyes. And that, it's scary. And I think, whether or not you've been, affected by sexual assault, I can probably assure you that you know somebody or you are friends with somebody who's been sexually assaulted. And that is a scary, scary, scary number. It affects a lot of people. I'm lucky that I can be up here and talking about this issue, but there is a lot of people around, this nation, around this campus who don't, have that luxury, that struggle every day. And so this is one of the most important issues to me. And yeah, I'll stop there.
Thank you, candidates. If you'll notice, we're at 6:25 and we have until 7. We're already on our 5th question. So I'm gonna arbitrarily extend our time to 3 minutes. After that, I'm going to take a brief pause and ask you all if you would like to take questions from the audience. If the answer is no, that's okay. Or if you'd just like me to come up with some questions and have a moment to think on them, we could do that as well. But I think that it would be a waste of valuable students here in this forum to not utilize that time. So this 5th question will extend to 3 minutes. And then we'll take a couple of questions from the audience, perhaps, if that's okay with you all. And then we will do the closing remarks at about 6:50. So just a fair warning. So question number 5, we're starting with Parker. In terms of the student body president's cabinet, how will you select and utilize your team in order to maximize your term?
Cool, thanks, Maggie. So I think this is a really cool question as it relates back, and I really draw it back to our campaign team and other teams and groups that I've been a part of, whether it's the executive board of my fraternity or the student government and the committees and things I've been a part of. It is so, so important when you're a part of a team that you have a common vision, a goal, you can communicate that, and then you're all working together. So I think it ties a little bit back into our platform of purpose. And what we want to do is enable and empower the students who have found their purpose, and whether they're IRA-specific initiatives or goals that they have, and then provide the tools and resources to make that difference. So I truly believe that anybody that's passionate about anything on campus, and if we're able to provide them with those tools and resources, they're going to make a difference. They just will. That's what we've seen time and time again. And those tools and resources can be facilitating partnerships between existing university bodies. So a great example of a current one that's been utilized well is working with the student body president cabinet and the care office, or others, or working with ORA and CSI and fraternity sorority life, and many of those can be improved and grown upon. So it's finding students that are passionate about these initiatives and then providing with those resources is totally key to having success and making a difference. I think it was President Roosevelt, FDR, said it best, and just to paraphrase, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but said something like, "I'm certainly not the smartest fella in the room, but I sure know how to pick some pretty darn smart colleagues." And I've totally seen that with whether it's our campaign team or, as I mentioned, other opportunities I've had to work with teams. That is so true. It's the people you surround yourself with, and it's communicating that vision that's so important and empowering their passion that really enables you to make a difference. So, yeah, I guess it just goes back to it's what can we do to support the student body, and what can we do to support you, whether it's spreading the word about special events, connecting you with the faculty, or facilitating those partnerships with university current organizations and bodies. That's what we want to do. So student org town halls, supporting the recruitment efforts of smaller student orgs. There's a vast array of things that we're really passionate about and excited to support the student body. So.
Yeah, I think something that's super important to both me and Peyton is when we're building, our possible cabinet, we really want diverse perspectives and different leadership styles. I think we all lose something when we don't diversify our perspectives. We lose, different ideas, different, feelings, different perspectives, different, people's like ideas. And I think it's so important that we diversify our cabinet, because each one can provide a different thing that the other person can't. But when we don't do that, everybody just provides the same idea, and it's not very helpful. And we also, want to, make sure that each of our members know that it's not just them and their initiatives. It's the whole cabinet as a whole. Yes, each cabinet member is going to have their different position, their different initiatives, but we all work together. And by doing that, we want to create a positive environment. We don't want it to just be something that you have to show up on a Thursday and just kind of show up, do your thing, and then leave. We want it to be a fun environment where we all can work together, so it doesn't feel like you against a certain problem. It is all of us working together to solve it. And so that's something really important to our cabinet. And I think by having a diverse perspective, by having different leadership styles, will benefit and help each of our initiatives that we push through our cabinet, because ultimately cabinet is where a lot of these initiatives are going to be put to. And so we really want to diversify those options and those leadership styles, so we have creative actions, creative initiatives to help solve those issues.
Yeah, so as Marta said, one of the most important pieces of an effective cabinet is to have diverse opinions, strategies, and diverse perspectives, to have on a cabinet. One of the most important things that I'd like to strive is that we're going to find the best advocates for students to serve on our cabinet. We want to open up our candidate pool beyond student government, beyond traditional candidates for cabinet, and we really want to find students who are really passionate about helping others and looking out for the benefits of each other. I think finding students who are really passionate about the basic needs of other students is going to be really important when I design my cabinet. We want to look from every single college in the university. We want to find the best leaders We want to find those who work well together with others, and I know that Ellie and I are going to be right there beside them working for you.
All right, at this time, candidates, I'm going to have you all come over here. We'll figure out a game plan, and then we'll review some more questions. I want to make sure that this is fair and equitable to everyone, so we're going to figure that out really quickly.
And can we, if it goes late, can we just have unlimited time on the closing remarks?
All right, everyone. So the candidates and I talked, and we've decided that we just want to open up the floor for questions. A couple of reminders before we do this. I'll just have people raise their hands. I will just go for the first hand that I see. I'll try to hit other areas of the room just to make sure that I'm not favoring anyone. I will repeat the question into the microphone so that people on the live stream can hear, as well as the candidates have extra time to think. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Just a reminder, please keep questions polite. Please don't ask questions that obviously favor one candidate. Please ask questions that are truly inquisitive and that you think will be to the benefit of everyone. So I'm gonna close my eyes, and if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. Kate, I saw your hand first.
What leadership experience do you have that qualifies you for this position?
Absolutely. The question was, what leadership positions have you held that qualify you for this position? Marta, I'll give you the first opportunity to answer.
Yeah.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Sweet. Yeah, so I've been in SGA pretty much since my freshman year. I was an intern, and then I ran, and then I got it. So I was a College of Arts and Science senator, and so I've been that for 2 years, but also when I was doing my second year as a College Arts and Science senator, I was also appointed to be the governmental relations chair. And so that is a committee that I chair that is basically the connection between students and the government. We work on various different issues. We worked on some vaccine stuff. We did get the vote out. We did to get people to vote in the city commission elections in Manhattan. But yeah, so we basically it's a project based. So right now each of my members are working on a different project. So if you're interested in campus beautification, I got some people you can talk to. But yeah, so I've done that. Right now I'm also the current president of Chimes Junior Honorary, which is the honorary for the junior class, pretty self-evident. And I am also the president of Results Manhattan, which is a lobbying organization where I do a lot of lobbying to congressional members. I write a lot of stuff for papers, and yeah, I'm also a College of Arts and Science senator. I already said that. Ambassador. I'm a College Arts and Science ambassador, which is really fun too. I get to meet a lot of prospective students and walk them to the departments. Often I get history and political science majors, and so that's really fun because I get to talk to them and mostly talk about Kathy and how much she's a great advisor. But yeah.
Reader, is there a time limit on these questions? Or okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same as Marta. I've been in student government since, as long as I can remember. I started out as an intern, and then I started to find some really great mentors in student government, like, Michael and a lot of other people that really taught me that I can be more than I set for myself. And so the year that I was an intern, the year after, I ran for Senate, and I really didn't know if I was going to make it or not, but I became a senator for the College of Agriculture, which was pretty special, writing legislation and being with your other peers like Parker to really just better our college and better the place we call home, has been pretty awesome. And then another year, I was the caucus leader for the College of Agriculture, which is another legislative position. So I've been in the trenches of the legislative branch for quite a while. This year, I took an executive position in student government. I'm the current serving academic affairs director, which is part of the president's cabinet, which has been a really enjoyable experience. You get to, enact a lot of change on campus as someone with that position. And so I really feel like that those positions and, some of my other extracurriculars like Ag Ambassadors, which has taught me a lot more about this university than I knew even before, has really qualified me for this position and really made me passionate to see change and to help you guys. So.
Awesome. Yeah. I think similarly to both of these incredibly involved individuals, but I've absolutely loved connecting with students all across campus in many different organizations. Initially, coming to K-State, I got involved in my fraternity, Delta Upsilon, where I served in various roles on the executive board and in committees, most recently serving as chapter president last year, which the best part of that was I learned a lot of leadership skills and a lot of things from that, but also I connected with other fraternities across campus and really learned some of their perspectives within FSL and sororities and some of those initiatives. And that opened up my eyes to the broader K-State landscape with getting involved in the student org policy review committee and how we can support other student organizations and how we're all unique. As I talked about earlier, we all bring different perspectives, and how can we come together and empower those student voices, I think is important. During my freshman year, the spring semester was when the unfortunate circumstances of COVID sent us all home. When we came back in the fall, however, there was a silver lining where when classes were online with maybe a little bit less time requirements, I was able to get involved even more. That's when I started to get really passionate and devoted to student government. The College of Ag Student Council chimes as well, pre-law ambassadors and other service organizations all across campus, where I've been able to meet and network with so many students that are so passionate about K-State. And each of those things have really fueled my passion and inspire me each and every day. So as crazy as it is, I am a little bit thankful for the silver lining from COVID and how it's pushed me again outside of my comfort zone, where I've expanded my horizons, I've connected with so many students. I've learned so many lessons from these leadership opportunities with the importance of communication, the importance of having an open mind, working together, collaborating. These things that I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, but there really is so much intrinsic value in education from that outside of the classroom. So I've really appreciated all the experiences I've had, and I'm really excited for what's in the future for myself and just Kansas State in general. So,
Thanks, everyone. Bryce, you'll have the opportunity to answer our next question first. Creighton, I saw your hand first.
Thank you, Maggie, and thank you, candidates. My question is, to what extent are the improvement of the status and treatment of students of color a focus of your campaign? And if you see this as an important issue, then what are your current plans to address it?
The question was okay. I'll try to, and if I'm wrong, correct me. What improvements, if any, do you see your administration making to the current experience that students of color have, and what are some ways that you hope to address that? Is that good enough? Okay, thank you, Creighton.
Yeah. Well, personally, for me, I think we need to increase, how we just the diversity of our campus. We need to increase opportunities for everybody on campus. I feel like that the more that we increase opportunities for everybody, the more, the better that this university is going to flourish. I think this is a really important issue, and I think that we need to work closely with several student organizations and several students to know that what we can do better as the student body president and vice president, and how we could, change the university for the better.
Sure. Yeah. I think this goes a little bit back to one of my previous answers of representing all students and working with organizations. But I think for me, it's again, finding this intrinsic value from education, or the education that comes from coming to college outside of the classroom. And that's just this immersion into the diffusion of cultures and getting to meet students with new perspectives. Like I said, where I graduated high school with 55 students, I pretty much went to preschool with every single one of them. So as I've gotten to meet new people, perspectives, backgrounds, ideas, cultures, everything about it has been such an awesome experience for me. And again, I recognize I don't know what's best for certain student groups, but empowering their voice and listening to them and working with students is absolutely key. I said it earlier, but farmers know what's best for farmers. It's the same mindset Jeff and I took as we developed our platforms of purpose and prosperity to connect with students and really represent everyone as well as we possibly can. And that's where I think it's important. Our door is always open. Our ears are always listening. I would love for any of you to share your experience with us, your perspective, and me as well share mine. Because I didn't grow up driving a tractor to school, but I am very passionate about agriculture and I love my background and I'd love to share that with each and every one of you. So I think we all have unique experiences, right? And our experiences define our perception of what's going on around us, and our perceptions are reality. So how can we work together towards common goals without understanding each other? So I think that's what's so important is we need to understand each other, and then we can really come together and make a difference.
Yeah. So, kind of what I mentioned earlier, when me and Peyton set out to pick our initiatives, we reached out to a multitude of different groups, specifically multicultural students. That was probably the biggest group that we reached out to because, I mean, their voices are often left unheard in all aspects of life. And so some of ours, like kind of mentioned what I mentioned earlier, when we don't have diversity, we don't have a full education. We're not learning the things we need to learn. We're not being good humans. By having a diverse perspective, by learning different people, different cultures, different religions, we are bettering ourselves. We are making ourselves more empathetic, better scholars, better students. And so when we don't have that, there's issues. And so some of the stuff that we talked about, so with our food insecurity platform, we reached out to Halo, specifically the president, Sophia. She had met with me and Peyton and I, and one of the big things she talked about was diversifying the food options in Cat's Cupboard. And that means, whether that's around certain religious holidays or cultural holidays that we, maybe put more of those cultural food in Cat's Cupboard so, students who are food insecure can still participate in those holidays. And so that's a really important thing that we really want to work on with Cat's Cupboard is doing that so students can, accurately, celebrate the holidays that they celebrate. Another thing that we think is probably the most important and didn't just come from a singular group, but a lot of multicultural students, and that was increasing the diversity in counseling. I have heard many horror stories of, students of color going into counseling and having a terrible experience, and not because it was anything against their counselor. They just don't understand what it's like to be a person of color. They don't know what it's like to be, a first generation student, an immigrant. They just don't understand that. And so it's really important for me and Peyton is to either work with counseling to diversify their counselors or, better the diversity training there so those students can also be helped, because there is no reason why any student should feel like they can't go to the counseling center and get help. No student should leave the counseling center and feel worse. And so that's like some of our really big important things that has to do with the students of color. But yeah.
All right, I'm going to take one more question, and I think it's Parker's turn to go first. All right, so, can everyone put their hands down, and then I'm going to everyone raise your hands again. Oh, gosh. Oh, this is so tricky. Rachel, I think I saw your hand first.
Okay, great. My question is, what strategies and how will you handle the situation when you come across conflict with others on campus, whether that be within SGA, students on campus, or faculty, staff, or administration?
All right, so the question was, how will you navigate conflict on campus, whether that's with other students, within SGA, or other organizations that you're involved with?
Sure. Thanks, Rachel. This is a great question. I think it a little bit goes back to understanding each other and working together, right? How can we expect to pursue change and work together to make a difference when we all have different experiences that fuel our perspectives, which lead to our perspective leads to our experience of reality, right? So we need to first share and work together and understand each other. And this is a fun one. I got to serve as fraternity president for a year, as I mentioned, and conflict resolution was a very fun thing that we got to work through. And almost every single time it was understanding each other, coming together, and really working for the best solution for everyone. So I think that's the biggest thing is to have an open mind, open ears, and just work with everyone. So that's the biggest thing I would say. When it comes to pursuing conflict resolution within the administration and everything else, that's another challenge. But I truly believe that each and every one of us here have the same goals at K-State, and that's ultimately to better the student experience, to improve upon the education you get at K-State. And when we all have the same goals, that's the beauty, is we can find ways to work together to achieve that. And yeah, we might have different ideas based on our experiences how to get there, but if we've got the same goal, if we really all want what's best for K-State, and I think we really do, then there's a lot of opportunity to work together and resolve that conflict in an equitable manner that everyone will be happy about. So I think that's the important thing to focus on with conflict resolution.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, like I said earlier, diversifying your options, you're going to have, differing opinions in somebody. And I'm a political science major. I deal with people who don't have the same opinions of me all the time. And not only am I a political science major, I'm also a lobbyist. So I have to deal with, a lot of congressional members who don't agree with some of the stuff that I'm pushing for. But you work together because you all have the same intention, whether that is making, your state better, the students better. And so I think even though I'm going to probably get into, disagreements with some people, whether that be, students, administration, people in SGA, as long as I know that they have the right intention, that they're wanting to better students, I'm fine sitting and talking about it for as long as it needs to be. I'm never going to be, if someone can tell me a good reason why how I feel is not right, I am totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with someone telling me that I'm wrong. And so I think, it's really important, creating an environment where it's okay to have differing opinions. If someone does not agree with me, I want someone to tell me. I want someone to tell me, hey, I don't think you should be doing this, or hey, maybe let's do this instead, because one, that just makes, the administration better, it makes SGA better. And so, it's something that I've learned a lot, through this, through my different, things that I do outside of campus is, working with people I don't always agree with. And it just always comes down to intention. I will always respect somebody for having the right intentions, whether we agree or not.
Yeah, folks. I think conflict often stems from a lack of understanding, either rather that be both parties, one party, or the other party, And I think that one thing that my administration plans to do in order to avoid conflict is to be as transparent as humanly possible. And I think that it's really important for us to understand why the conflict is happening. To take in perspectives from those who may not necessarily agree with what we have to say and what we have to do, and change that. Honestly, because the K-State experience really is, seeing some of those diverse aspects of life and really taking in other people's opinions and diversifying your mind as well. And so I think that our transparency and that keeping an open mind is honestly probably one of the most important things that we can do as an administration to avoid conflict. If it's healthy conflict, bring on the conflict. We like having the differing opinions to better understand what we can do better for you.
All right, thank you, candidates. We'll move into our final question, which is just inviting you all to share your closing remarks. It's 6:50, so we'll go ahead and I'll give you all 3 minutes to answer the question. So yeah, just what closing remarks do you have? Marta, you were first on our list.
Yeah, sweet. So I sat down with a specific person in April, and he looked at me across the table and said, hey, you should run for student body president. And I was like, okay, I will. And so, ever since then, it was one of those things where I didn't want to give up. There was, a hard time, finding, my vice presidential candidate. And that was almost, my breaking point. I was almost just going to throw it in. But then I met this girl right here, Peyton Lynn. And, at first, I talked about this today with somebody else. It was hard for me to agree to run with two women. And that is because, some people just don't think that is just good enough. And that a lot of people just don't feel like that's how things should be. And I didn't want, society to tell me that I couldn't be with Peyton and that we couldn't run together. And, that's something that I think rings, be the change. Whether me and Peyton win we hope that we're paving the way for other women who want to run together for this position to feel like it is okay and that you can do it, and that this, obviously it's not easy, but it's not just going to be hard because you're a woman. And so that's something that's really, really important to us. You know, be the change, be a part of it. Don't sit and watch. And that is something that I love about Peyton, because she will easily stand in a room and she will give her opinion. You should watch some of her debates. That girl can debate. But yeah, we're never gonna stop. You know, whether, you know, we win this election or not, we're never gonna stop fighting for students. We're never gonna stop being part of that change. And, you know, like I said earlier, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm not doing this just to slap it on my resume and said I did something really cool. I'm doing this for anybody who ever felt like they weren't good enough. They couldn't be at that table, you know, that struggled with mental health, that was a sexual assault victim, you know, everything. It's not just for me, but yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I never really saw myself standing at this podium today talking to all of you and answering your questions, but there have been a lot of really good people in my life and a lot of really great experiences in my life that have shaped the person that I am today and really made me think that, you know what, Bryce Atchison can be the student body president of K-State, and who says he can't? Ellie Toothaker has been just such an inspiration for me personally. I texted her one day and asked her if she wanted to be my vice president, and I fully expected her to say no, but she said yes. And since then, we've started this journey that has really shaped me, shaped her, but also made me realize that a small kid from rural Kansas can make a lot of change, and a lot of change for things that need to be done on campus. Norman Borlaug was a Nobel Peace Prize winning agronomist, and he said that social change can't progress without proper nutrition. In K-State, the whole entire university, I'm talking to you, as your student body president, you will not go hungry. Your administration will care for you and hear you. And so long as I am student body president and Ellie is vice president, no K-Stater will be left behind. Thank you all.
Yeah, well, in closing, folks, I really just want to say thank you. Thank you all again, Maggie, Reed, and Collegiate, and everyone else who's made this event possible. Bryce and Peyton, I want to thank you both as well. Your courage in tackling challenging issues, food security, sexual assault, and everything else, it's admirable. And I really appreciate your dedication to Kansas State. Even though we may be competitors, I think we're really on the same team here. As I said, we're all pushing for a better K-State, so I do appreciate that. Most importantly, I want to say thank you all and everyone tuning in for your engagement in this process. As I said earlier, it's a very important opportunity. I encourage everyone to turn out next week and vote in the polls. Make your voice heard. No matter who you cast your vote for, it doesn't matter. Civic engagement, let's go, exercise it. It's going to be fun. So that starts next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. This whole time, Jeff and I have really emphasized connecting students all across campus. So it's been so fun to build our team and hear your voices. That's what we're here for, and that's what we hope to continue. So as I said earlier, our door's always open. Our ears are always listening. Please, please, please reach out. Share your perspective. Share your background. We'd love to hear it and see how that fits into the VE platform or what we can do to support you. The best way, there's so much I wish I could share. This hour is tight and small, but there's a lot of other details in our platforms, and we really focused on creating specific action steps and goals that will make a difference. So I guess I really just talked about some of the brief things, but the best way to follow along is probably on our Instagram at Volgamore_Ebeck 2022, where you can see more about those specific platforms through posts, videos, and also the link in our bio, which will take you to our platform's website, and you can read more about our vision and goal for K-State. Also, this next week, we'll be tabling in the Union tomorrow, Friday, as well as Monday and Tuesday of next week. So please come stop by and chat. We'd love to hear you. hear you out, talk to you, or just grab some VE merch, whatever it is. We'd love for you to stop by. So lastly, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to our incredible team, Jeff and everyone else here and everyone else that's been involved throughout this process. You fueled our optimistic vision for K-State. This is what it's all about, is the students and each and every one of you. And so I'm so thankful for everything you've done to support us, but also guide us and just be a part of this, because it is special and it's been a lot of fun. So you were really the perfect example, our team, of diffusing different cultures, backgrounds, ideas, where we can grow and learn together. And we certainly wouldn't be here with this optimistic vision and goal without you. So we love you all, K-State family, and can't thank you enough. We're very grateful for this opportunity. Look forward to working with everyone in the future, no matter what capacity, and go Cats.
All right, with that, let's give all of our candidates a big round of applause. All right, thank you so much everyone for coming out to this debate today. If there's pizza out there, help yourselves. I'm sure the candidates will be around if you have any additional questions. Thanks everybody.